She walked into the dimly lit dojo as if she didn't belong, her hands loosely at her sides, shoulders slightly curved, eyes wary. Everyone expected someone ordinary, maybe shy, maybe nervous. So when the sensei, a hulking figure with a black belt wrapped twice around his waist, sneered and said under his breath, "Hey Blondie, how about you step up and show us what you've got, or are you too scared?" He meant it as a joke. He chuckled, nudged his sparring partner forward, expecting a polite refusal. But the moment the offer hung in the air, she lifted her chin and nodded. That simple nod snapped silence like thunder. If you want to see how she responded, hit like and subscribe to Kindness Tales now, because you won't believe what happens next. That sparring match was supposed to be a lighthearted test of courage, the kind you see in movies, where the underdog shakes, then fumbles, then redeems. But as soon as the first blow was thrown, the dojo went still. Time slowed, her eyes hardened, and her posture changed, subtle, almost invisible, but enough to ripple fear across the room. The sensei's fist was aimed square at her ribs, a half-hearted tap meant to embarrass. Instead, she pivoted with a grace that made the spectators' jaws drop, sidestepping and twisting her hips smoothly. She delivered a strike, quiet, precise, controlled, that stunned the man, not bodily but mentally. His eyes widened, his arm froze mid-swing, and the force of her redirection left him off balance. She didn't shout. She didn't show off. She just stood there, calm, breathing evenly, the faintest hint of a smile playing at her lips. The room exhaled as one. Then the partner lunged again, faster, more intense this time. But for each strike, she responded with measured blocks, fluid counters, movement like water flowing around boulders. The larger man tried to overpower her with brute strength, but she used technique, momentum, and something deeper. By the time the third strike came, she stepped in, caught his arm, twisted it behind his back in a joint lock so smooth it seemed choreographed, and pushed, gently but decisively, sending him sprawling to the mat. The gasp that tore through the dojo felt like thunder cracking a calm sky. The sensei's smirk vanished, horror and respect took its place. He looked at her as though seeing a ghost rise from the ashes. Silence reigned for a long moment, then it shattered. People exhaled, whispered, some stumbled back. One student dropped his bow staff, eyes wide, breath trembling. Others stared in awe. The sensei's face turned pale, veins at his neck pulsing as he tried to speak, but no words formed. She simply stood there, chest rising and falling, calm. Then she bowed, a perfect, respectful, graceful bow that said more than any words could. The sensei staggered to his feet, placed a hand slowly on his belt, and in a voice strangled, with shock, said, Who are you?" She looked up. Her eyes held secrets, the kind that burn and don't fade. "Just someone passing through," she said softly. But the whispers started anyway. Someone recognized the compact way she moved, not like a boxer or a karate kid, but like someone trained hard for real. That elbow lock wasn't from any standard dojo syllabus. The calm precision, the reflexes, the confidence, it all pointed to something far beyond a casual black belt. And the biggest surprise came when a man who'd quietly slipped out without a word pushed through the crowd, approached her, and bowed in respect. A man in civilian clothes. A retired operative from a special forces unit who had served alongside her. He nodded once sharply, then turned and walked away before anyone could ask. Later, whispers flew. "She's a former SEAL Delta Force." "They said she was off the grid," someone hissed. Others shook their heads. "No way," said another. But the proof was in the dojo, the look on her face, the calm in her stance, the shock in the sensei's eyes. Nobody bullied or taunted her again. Nobody dared. Because the joke had turned into something else entirely, a raw demonstration of power, control, and discipline that caught everyone off guard. She didn't need to shout about it. She didn't need to explain. She just allowed the silence and the awe to speak for her. In the days that followed, students would train harder, but they never challenged her again. Some came to watch her practice, not to mock or test her, but to learn. Others tried to get her attention, but she kept distant, polite, quiet. She never boasted, never told a story, but every time someone pushed too hard or tried to show off, she reminded them with a glance, a breath, a subtle shift in stance, nothing aggressive, but infinitely firm. The dojo felt different after that night. Respect replaced arrogance, fear replaced mockery, quiet discipline replaced clumsy bravado. We'll never know why she walked into that dojo. Maybe she was seeking solitude or a place to train anonymously or simply testing herself. But what she left behind in minds and hearts was far more powerful. A lesson that strength isn't always loud, that respect isn't earned by words, and that underestimating someone because of appearances can backfire beautifully. If her story moved you, if you felt that spark of awe and respect, please hit like and subscribe to Kindness Tales to support more stories like this.